Hello y'all, Set to Achieve. Welcome to another video. And today I'm talking about the fact that the narcissists in your family, your narcissistic parents, the ones that you are codependent on, or you were codependent on, and God has freed you from their bondage, they want to kill your faith. They want to kill your faith because they know that when you're able to walk fully by faith and believe God and trust God, that you will no longer be dependent upon them, and their control and their power is going to be stopped, so they want to kill your faith. I mean, by all means necessary. These people want to kill your faith. So please, if you are new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, like this video to share to more people. Yeah, let's talk about this, guys. Leave your comments as well, okay? Because your comments make it possible for people to understand that they are not alone in this walk, okay? In the struggle, right? They want to kill your faith. They want to completely annihilate your faith. They don't want you to be great, okay? They really do not want you to prosper. They pretend like they do. Your narcissistic parents, that your narcissistic family, they pretend like they do, but they have a hang up. They have a problem, that they have to go to God for, because I mean, it's like you really can't fully understand where the hate is coming from. Where the hate is coming from. You don't understand, like, why would somebody just be set up against the destiny of somebody else? Jealousy, and it's just jealousy, spite. Because they have allowed themselves to be used by the devil, the enemy. They have allowed themselves to be completely taken over by the enemy. So there's nothing you can do. I mean, all you can do, there's nothing you can do for them. I mean, you can pray for them, but what you can do is to save yourself, okay? When you are in an airplane, okay, and there's like turbulence or something is going on, the first thing that they do is have you put in your life belt, okay? You can't save anybody else except yourself, okay? And the way you save yourself is by setting boundaries against these people, to try to break away from them, okay? Because they have a lot of jealousy, they have a lot of hatred, and one thing that you have to understand is that when you are yoked with these people and they try to keep you enmeshed, they try to like start up like business ideas. I remember there was a business idea I was trying to like put forward to my dad, and he was like, oh no, that's not gonna work, and remember, I've been close to my dad like all my life, okay? I've been really close to my dad. All right, but I didn't realize that he was actually a bigger narcissist than my mother, okay? She's a covert, he's the enabler, but he's also a narcissist because he's the one that gaslights everybody, okay? He calls himself, he's the self-proclaimed peacemaker, okay? All right, the one that makes sure that everybody bows to whatever it is that he says. He's the one that enforces the law and makes sure that nobody challenges that law, okay? And if it's challenged, okay, anybody coming against it is termed as stubborn, difficult to work with, and yeah, it just is what it is, and I remember so like I said, they try to keep you enmeshed, and I was coming up with a business idea, and mind you, it was just very recently that God was revealing to me that this person, my father, was the one that was actually after my destiny. God was revealing to me. And even like 2 days ago in the morning, was it yesterday morning, I woke up and God gave me another revelation. It was clear as day about how he was the one that altered my destiny by changing my mind about the college that I was to go to. Okay, he was the one that altered my destiny. He was the one. Okay, I woke up early in the morning and I was laying down in bed and God revealed that to me, clear as day. You know, that because, and then all the events that happened after me going there, and even after I went there, or even after I decided, okay, fine, I would go with his idea. In my high school, I used to work at the, I mean, for free. It was like free labor or whatever. But because I had study hall, because I'd taken so many summer school classes, I had so much free time. So I could take study. I think I had like 2 study halls, like, you know, a semester. So you can just sit there, do your homework and things like that and everything. So long story short, because I had so much free time, I took one of my free periods to start working in the principal's office, right? And the principal's daughter was at the school that my dad had convinced me to go to. And she was working as either security, I mean, she was a student as well, but she was working or in the parking lot, right? You know, you get paid and you know, I think you get certain you know, perks and things like that, you know, for working there. And you know, and she was like, she would get me in. And then I just discussed it with my dad and he was like, no, focus on your studies, you know, just focus on your studies, you know. And it just like, I felt like he just was like, he was just like, he just set up everything to basically to ruin my destiny. Because I mean, just making that choice alone, you know, and that was faith, you know. I was believing I was going to go in, you know, and that was another way that he killed my faith, because it's like, okay, so I can't work. And he was like, well, if you go into the school and start working, you're not gonna be able to focus on your studies and everything. And then I went in, I couldn't focus, and I wasn't working, you know, but I couldn't focus. I couldn't find what it was I wanted to do, and the things that I actually decided because I told them even before I went into high school that this is actually what I wanted. I wanted to go into cosmetology. I wanted to go into beauty. And they were like, no, that's for people that didn't go to school. That's for people that don't have a college degree. You go for this and you go for that. I ended up going for nursing, long story short. And that didn't work out. I didn't like it. And it was just like, you know, they kill your faith. They kill your faith. They want to destroy everything that they know for sure that you want to do, that you would not need them for. Okay, they're not going to encourage you. They're not going to validate you. They're going to tear it right down. I remember when I mean, just the Holy Spirit just bringing too many things to my memory. I remember when I was doing hair in the house. I was doing braids, and after I left nursing, so I was doing braids in the house, and I was in my church choir. Okay, so one of my church choir members had a shop. So long story short, I could no longer do hair in the house anymore. I was having some issues, you know, with people coming in the house and things like that. So I asked her, can I share a space with her? And she was like, sure, that I had to pay a certain amount per month. I think I was paying like $250 or $300. Like it was right before the pandemic. So you know, so I would pay her like via Zelle, you know, each month, like before a certain day. I think before like the 5th or so, I would pay her. And so I had like a 6-month contract. Then after the 6 months, I was to renew the contract. So I had a chair in her salon, and you know, I would do people's hair and things like that and everything. I think I was specializing in crochet during that time. And long story short, I invited my dad to come see the place, you know, just to show him, like, you know. And then he came in and he was seeing like her setup, and he saw my setup. And she was not only doing hair, like braids, and you know, doing people's like hair, like curls or whatever. She was also selling wigs, like, and that was actually the main thing that like kept her business going. That was like her bread and butter, selling wigs, you know, online and things like that and everything. But that wasn't something I was into, you know. But she was very good at it. Um, and as a matter of fact, now she has a store like very close to where I live. I mean, we kind of like lost touch or whatever, but I think I saw her in like the grocery store like maybe like last year. You know, she was with her daughter, and you know, we greeted and you know, things like that and everything. But she's doing pretty well for herself. But I mean, I could have, and my dad could have supported me in that my venture, and I mean, he showed like minimal support, but the bottom line was that one of the days that I was like discussing with my ex, he's a narcissist as well, and he was like, and he took a lot of pleasure when other people would put me down, and other people, you know, my family was narcissistic, and because they set me up and groomed me to be gaslit and to never pay attention to my intuition. You know, I'm just like, now that I'm walking in the path of God, now that I am following my purpose, and I'm understanding that one of the ways that God have, well, the main way that that I'm fulfilling purpose is by revealing the tricks of these demons. Okay. And one thing that I've realized, okay, is that you can forgive them, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to reconcile with them. Okay? It doesn't mean that you have to unblock them when you know that this person is after your mental health, when you know that this person is not supportive of your path. And even the path that I have for my kids, they're not in support of it. You know, I don't want my kids going into college and getting all these debt, you know, and then having to pay back and having their credit ruined and all these different things. I'm more, even though the ones that want to do that, that's fine, but I'm more like, okay, why don't you find a business that you can start with, or you can start up, you know, and start getting some kind of cash flow, and then use that cash flow to fund whatever it is. If you want to do like, you know, and then you can be running that business, maybe you can do like online classes, you know, have everything balanced, you know, rather than, you know, going straight in, getting all this debt and not even guaranteed that you're going to get the job that you're hoping for, you know, or the job might be extinct when you know, or it might be completely out once you leave out of the college. Like, that's for another story, but we were like, so we go to like a physical church, and you know, and they were like doing like pastor appreciation, and I was sitting with one of the church members, and I think she studied engineering, and she was saying that you know, I think it was like in the 2000s, I don't know, it was in the early 2000s, there's a lot of graduates that finished school and accumulated all these loans, and at the end of the day it was like back to square one, because the jobs that they accumulated loans for were no longer available. They basically just vanished, you know, because technology and everything keeps changing rapidly, but nobody told them this, right? So, you know, because my oldest daughter, I feel like she was the one that was most influenced by my family, you know, all that narcissistic talk, and, you know, if you do a trade or if you do certain things that you are, you know, you're not, what is the word? You know, you're not, it's like you're not fit, or it's like making you feel like you're not accepted, just like the way they did for me, like you're not accepted, or it's not good enough, or somehow, you know, you're not fitting the status quo and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, who's gonna help me pay up all this debt, you know, if I go the wrong way, or I don't really seek God, you know, and all of this and all that. And you know, most of them with a higher status, you know, whatever, are narcissistic anyway, you know. And you know, I just, so I have a certain path, whatever, and you know, but I don't enforce anything, you know. I just give my children options, and I say, you know what, you pick what's right for you. Okay, everybody has a destiny, everybody has free will. You pick what is right for you. As long as at the end of the day, you're able to support yourself, you're able to have fulfillment, and you're able to fulfill purpose. You're able to, because what is the point of going through all this rigorous stuff and going through all these motions, and at the end of the day, you're unfulfilled. You didn't fulfill the purpose that God has for you, and you're walking zombie, you know? So I try to teach him about God. I try to teach him about walking the path of righteousness, seeking God, you know. And the world system is like, well, go to school, you know, get your career, you know, and then, you know, fit God somewhere. So it's like God is like the side piece, you know. God and fulfilling purpose is like the side piece, you know, when it comes to like the whole world system, right? But in the kingdom, is all the other way around. You have to ask God, okay, Father God, what purpose do you have for me? What do you have for me? Okay? And I know now that my purpose is to teach and educate and pull the chosen ones that have been broken, just like I was, that have been oppressed, just like I was, pull them out of bondage, yank them out of the hands of the enemy. That is my purpose, okay? You know, and just going down and looking back, I can see how my faith has been suppressed and oppressed, you know, and how my destiny has been oppressed and oppressed by the people, my parents, my very parents. You know, my ex just came in. He came in and because he saw that loophole. Okay, that hole that my parents left in my heart, in my life, that is how he was able to come in, right? Because I was that broken, all right? And the narcissist, they can smell brokenness from a mile away. So going back to the topic, these people will try to kill your faith. They will try to destroy, and they do it on purpose. These people are very, very intelligent, very sly, okay, in their ways. They know exactly what they're doing. Demonically sly, okay, demonically wise, okay. They know exactly how to bring you down, okay. That is the reason why I stopped going to my parents' functions. I started setting boundaries. I started believing that, okay, I believe God, and I know that God can do all things. I know I've been codependent for all these years, you know, and I've never like really learned to build my faith muscle, right? I started like building my faith muscle by eliminating and separating, you know, the situationship, marriage, whatever, with my ex, okay? That was the first step. And how did I do that? How was I able to do that and gain the strength to do that? By learning about narcissism, okay? So I'm gonna try to end the video here, guys. I have a new community. It's called Our Father's Business, okay? It's a Skool community where like-minded people like myself and yourself and other chosen ones can come together, and, you know, we can leave comments, like a social media platform type of, you know, thing. We can leave comments, we can come together, like, so when I have enough members, I'm going to be posting the link for a Zoom meeting that we'll be having on Sunday evenings, okay? Probably 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, you know, 6:30 or 6 p.m. or 6:30, probably 6 p.m. Central Standard on Sundays. That's what I'm planning, right? So I'm working on it, you know, putting more content, you know, in our classroom, and just, you know, but you're free. I'm gonna leave the link in the description. You're free to join right now. It's only $9 a month, you know, so it's basically like an offering, you know, just to, you know, help out, you know, and keep everything going, you know, because the time and the effort, you know, to put everything together, you know, it needs some support, you know. So, you know, go ahead and support me by, you know, become a part of it, and be supported as well by being around like-minded people. You can leave Bible scriptures, you can leave comments, you know, about your journey, you know, and just to help to build each other up, okay? You know, we're in this thing to not just stay afloat, but to thrive, okay? And we have to help each other out. We have to encourage each other. We have to understand that we're not alone, okay? Because we're not alone. God is with us, okay? And there are other people like myself that have decided to go ahead and fulfill purpose and talk about this thing, talk about every every tactic of the wicked, all their tactics. Expose it, okay? Because when you expose it, you limit their power, okay? You break down that wall, all right? And that's what we're here to do, all right? So I'm gonna go ahead and end this video. Make sure you like the video, leave your comments, join the group, join the community. I mean, join our community. It's going to be very impactful. I know God is going to be doing great things. God keeps giving me ideas of, what to, to include and different things. And I'm very, very excited because I know that it's going to be very empowering. God is going to do his work. And, my purpose and other people that decide to join is going to be, their purpose is going to be fulfilled, and to the glory of God and to Christ. Amen. All right. Thank you for watching, and God bless.